So if you didn't already know, recently Pippa Middleton got married. It's been all over the news, and we've seen the kind of things that have happened, and it's kind of inspired us in a way, and seen what kind of things that she's done on a day, and I'm sure it's inspired you too. So let's take a look at some of the things that went on during the day and some of the ideas that you can take for your own wedding. It's just to show that you don't need to be royalty to have a wedding like Pippa. So one of the interesting things that she did, which sprung up and made us notice it straight away, was the fact that her staff and her waiting staff on the day were not trained waiting staff. They were all in fact models or celebrities, which is a little bit strange and a little bit different. She obviously wanted everyone to be fantastically good looking on a day, so if you're not blessed with good looking friends and family, then you don't have to go down that route. But the idea of changing your staff up on the day and having them work a different role is something that you can always look at. There are acts that we have, like undercover singers or singing waiters, where they will act and pretend to be waiters on the day, and they'll do a waiting job. They'll wait on tables, they'll take orders, they'll offer drinks, etc. But sometime during the event, something will happen. They might drop a glass or a tray of cutlery, somebody will fall over, then all of a sudden they'll burst into song, and you have that surprise element at your event, and everyone loves it if you can manage to keep it a secret. Pippa's reception was held at a private estate, and then afterwards they moved in the evening reception to their back garden, where they had a 140-foot glass marquee, which is absolutely insane, and I'm sure it's spectacular as well. But that idea of splitting your venue into two different places is something that's really interesting and definitely worth doing, especially in the summer months. A lot of venues will offer a marquee as well as the actual venue on the day, so think about maybe splitting your wedding in half, maybe doing the first half outside whilst you've got some sunshine, then heading inside afterwards, or the other way around. And you always have a backup plan of two different places if the weather doesn't play ball. With the glass marquee, that's obviously a massive showstopper, and everyone's going to take notice of that on the day. But there are things that you can do as well to make sure that you have that show-stopping moment at your event. One of the things that we always look at is an act called a giant snow globe, which is a massive inflatable snow globe which two dancers go inside, and they kind of do a choreographed routine whilst in this huge kind of contraption on stage. It's a really kind of epic moment and something that nobody's going to forget. Another cool thing they did, which was really interesting, was they arranged the tables on the day into places that the bride and groom Pippa, that they both visited in the past. It's an interesting take, and that's something that is worth thinking about, the way you arrange tables. Obviously, you might have a seating plan in mind and things that you want to do, but think about a kind of theme running through the tables, and maybe something personal to you that you can share across with your guests. During the ceremony, it's no surprise that they went romantic. They had a choir sing, which is amazing. And if you've ever heard a choir sing, whether it's a cappella or backed up by a string quartet, it's an amazing moment, and it's something that really kind of encapsulates the actual part of the day where they actually are getting married in the ceremony. So think about this kind of small romantic touches that you can add to your day, whether it's with a ceremony or a string quartet, or even just a classical duo, or just a solo guitarist. That kind of musical accompaniment can really enhance the day. So it was no surprise to us when we saw that Pippa had booked a sax and DJ duo at her event. It's definitely the in thing right now, and as soon as we saw it, we just kind of knew straight away that was the in thing. Loads of people are going for it right now, and it's just really cool and something a little bit different but still really fun. There's so many kind of sax duos and trios out there, and there's some really cool ones where you have maybe a sax and percussion duo, or even the three where you have sax, percussion and DJ. It's really hip and it's really different, and it's different to having just a regular band or a DJ at your event if you can add that kind of flair of saxophone, and there's that improvisational element involved in it where it's a bit more free-flowing, a bit fun and a bit different. Something else that we weren't quite expecting her to do is she had photo booths at her event, and the way they kind of went through the wedding is it was kind of planned to be chilled, if you know what I mean. It was planned to be fun, and it's a very fun and different way to capture everyone's emotions at the event. Obviously, you'll want maybe your photographer or videographer to catch these anyway, but a photo booth is going to add that element of fun, because you're going to have props involved in that kind of thing. And there's so many different ways that you can have photo booths at your event. We have green screen photographers, for example, where you'll rock up, you'll have props and you'll do your photos, but they'll put on like a fun backdrop behind you, and that's maybe just a different way to capture the day. they also had, what sounds really cool, is a light show. Now, I'm still not exactly sure what a light show entails, though the description was very vague, but there are so many cool ways that you can add a light show to your event. We have an act which is Future Harp, where it's actually fusing music and light technology, where he will play lasers. Does that make sense? He'll play lasers with his hands. I know that sounds crazy. You have to see it to believe it. We'll drop something in so you can see what's going on. But yeah, light shows are amazing. There's kind of glow performers that you can have which are going to look great in a dark lit setting. Obviously wait till it's nighttime or turn the lights off in your venue. Everyone's going to look and see what's going on. Amazing photo opportunities as well. So the theme for her evening do and her reception was one of an enchanted forest. I know it sounds really spooky and cool. Yeah, very different, very cool. And there are ways that you can bring that to your event as well. Obviously the setting helps. If you are in an actual real forest, then you're halfway there. But if you're not, then there are ways that you can bring this to you. A lot of stilt walkers are able to provide this, and we have the fantasy performers where they're absolutely huge. They've dressed up and they're on stilts, but the gowns are handmade and they're absolutely amazing. And they look like they've literally crawled out of a giant tree, and they're fully dressed, and it just looks incredible. And they'll be able to mingle and mix with all your guests on the day. Another way that you can do this and bring it to life is to have living trees, actual trees that are alive. So these are guys that will walk around and they are in a kind of tree costume, and sometimes they can pretend to be statues, pretend to be actual kind of tree ornaments, and scare your guests as they're walking around. They might give one of you a hug if you're well inclined, and it's just a bit of fun and a way to add that kind of foresty, enchanted feel to your event. So as far as celebrity weddings go, this is certainly one of the more extravagant ones we've seen, but it still has that kind of laid back touch. I think they were very careful that they didn't want to go too far, and the guests that they had, they wanted to keep it fun, keep it light, and keep it different. So those are some ways that you can definitely do that at your wedding too. All the acts I mentioned, will drop links in the description below so you can take a look at them. Any other ideas or questions, make sure you give us a shout.